All right. All right, here we go. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Magic with Zuby. My name is Zuby, and if you're brand new to this show, the show's all about a little well-known card game called Magic the Gathering and more. We've got another Walrus Watercooler podcast because this podcast is brought to you by Walrus Game Studio. And we've got one of the OG founders who's been on the podcast a few times already, Dante, with us. How are you doing, Dante?
I am doing well this evening. Pretty good. Pretty good.
Nice. Nice. So,
How are you doing, man?
not too bad actually. Went to the gym today. I had so it was funny. All of today, the day that we're recording at work, I had to do nothing but talk in almost every single meeting, and not just speak a little bit here and there. And I'm talking like talking for 30 to 45, almost over an hour straight of talking. And then I was exhausted at the end, and then I realized, shit, we got a podcast. And I'm like, I don't want to talk more, but we got to do it because we got some exciting shit.
We do actually. For me, it was actually just kind of a heads down day. Luckily, just answer a couple of emails and work.
Oh, lucky you, man. Lucky you. I know. Well, I know what you've also been working on too.
Oh,
Which we'll get into that in a second. So this is a live podcast. If you're watching the VOD or listening to the audio, we do have some live audience members here. And we've also got some Q&A questions that we can ask towards the end here about us and about the game. Or games, I should say. Which will be fun and exciting. So I guess let's just get right into it before we get into Walrus related stuff. How have you been doing? Anything new going on since you've last been on? It's been a couple weeks.
Let's see. My daughter got accepted to a very regionally prestigious college.
Nice.
Right? And it's
Congrats.
Yeah. She got her dream university and dream, coursework that she wants to do, and coincidentally, her bestest friend in the world decided to do the same thing.
Nice.
They didn't. Yeah, it's really strange. They didn't coordinate with each other. They didn't really talk about what they were doing. And then lo and behold, they both said, "Well, this is what I'm doing," and it's the same university and basically the same track, for
that's
their
awesome.
majors. Yeah, so it's kind of cool.
So she'll be going to school with someone she knows then. Won't be alone.
Well, and her brother's already going there too. So
one
of her brothers is still there, working on his, believe it or not, game development and programming degree.
Ooh, is there a possible job opportunity at Walrus?
Well, there might be. I mean, he'd have to be behind his older brother, who just graduated with his game design degree, and actually, he's already working. So, speak of the devil, some people found him, and he's working with mostly U.S., but a couple of international people, and they have a project, and he's been leading the charge. In fact, so much so that he basically got elected to be the person that meets with the marketing, like this outside marketing team, and he's going to be representing the entire development department.
Oh, that's awesome!
To this marketing, yeah. So he's getting his full taste of what it's like to be in charge of a certain area, and so it's kind of cool. Lots
awesome.
going on. Lots going on here at this end. My dog has one of my dogs is still wearing her surgery cone 3 weeks later.
Oh, Athena,
because she's not the best girl in the world and doesn't know how to.
That's not true.
Well, she wants to lick her. Like, it was just a little surgery on her paw, and she just wants to keep licking it, and we're like, you can't because it'll keep getting infected. And anyway,
Oh,
yeah. So
no,
that's
I
what's
can't
going
wait to
on.
see them again because
Dude.
we're planning our second annual Walrus Whomper for this
That's
summer.
right. The Whomper 2.
Yeah.
For those that don't know it, that's the annual Walrus user group meeting.
Oh, or maybe we should start doing like the Fast and Furious movies, like two Walrus, two Whomper, too Fast, too Furious. I'll even make a poster for us to print it out.
Oh man, that'd be hilarious.
Oh my god, I should write that down.
That would be funny. uh, we could. We could one year could be like only tusks, right? That would be the theme, only tusks. Everybody
have T-shirts
had
made of only tusks.
You'd have to walk around with like a little hoodie with tusks hanging
Well,
out.
I've got my onesie. I've got my walrus onesie.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you do.
Yeah, I heard my kid yelling just now, like, "Don't you put it on?" And it's like, "Oh, I will. Don't get it twisted. I'm not ashamed."
Yeah, don't challenge us.
Don't challenge me. I'll do it. I'll embarrass the crap out of everybody. I should bring it up to Ohio this summer too,
dude. Oh my god!
And wear it to the Walrus restaurant,
dude. 100%. All right, so for the a little doxing. I mean, yes, it's gonna hurt, but so we most of the team is in Central Ohio, and in Columbus, Ohio specifically, there is our favorite restaurant / bar, and it's called the Walrus. And no, it is not how we got our name, but it is now home to us.
It's a coincidence. Very big coincidence.
Total big coincidence. But it's a pretty neat place. We like hanging out there.
Yeah, no, it's I can't wait to visit it this year when I go up there. I've already put in the time off.
But they have tchotchkes and shit, T-shirts and that kind of stuff.
We're gonna have to. I'll have to buy some when I go up there.
Oh yeah,
that's awesome. So I've been up to working on Walrus, working out, a lot of working.
Don't forget answering a million questions from me.
Oh yeah, but hey, that's actually been fun though. Because it's like having to make me remember, like, how does networking actually work?
It's true. It's been a treat, man. I tell you what. And we even got some of the other people in Discord going, like, well, wait a second, no, it's this, it's that,
Yeah. Yeah, because we have our own private little Discord that the public will never see.
Never.
Never. No. We the amount of shit that we talk.
I think it might lead to if it was streamed, it'd be permanent ban material.
I don't think it's that bad.
Sometimes
it can be. Okay, it can be, but
it can be.
But
it can get up there.
It's to me, it's like our little solace for like being able to just like stress relief type stuff, because we all work from home, so we don't get that office environment anymore.
Thank God.
I mean, no, you're right. Like, but there are things I miss about the office, right? Where you miss some of the camaraderie more. Like especially if you had really good coworkers and stuff, and getting to commiserate sometimes.
It is harder to do that, I have to admit.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I'll just say this. Like this is how I've solved that problem. And this is just a me thing because I'm just at a point in life where I'm like, fuck it, kind of a thing. But I just put myself out there to them. I'm just like, this is who I am, and this is, and just be polite but honest in discussions. And it turns out it's pretty good, man. I'm able to build. If you're respectful to other people and respect their views and opinions, the same will come right back at you, and before long you have a good relationship with people, even though you may not see eye to eye on something.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. It's just, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't trade working from home for anything at this point.
no.
I've been doing it since 2018, 2019,
Mhm.
and all that. And
Same.
it's just, yeah, wouldn't change it. I mean, unless someone wants to pay me a lot of money, and I'd be like, okay, $500,000 a year? Yeah, sure.
I think I'd do that.
Yeah.
I'd go for that.
You want me to drive 2 hours every day to get there? Sure. Yeah.
I you know I just think people are short-sighted. Like, the people that fight against this are a little short-sighted, and they don't
Yeah.
understand what they're really getting for their money. Like, if you break down a salaried person who works from home and the effort that they're putting in, you're paying them less per hour than making this guy come into your office. You know, like, I'm usually up 5:30, 6 o'clock. I'm sitting in a chair by 6:30,
Yeah.
and I'm usually not done working until 6 or 6:30 on just work stuff. You know that.
Yep.
You've seen that. So, it's like, okay, you want to trade a 10 to 12 hour day for an 8 hour day? That's what you want. Now,
Yeah.
granted, there are people that don't put that kind of effort in. I get that, but I don't know. I, I'll just say this: I fall on the side of It is my belief, based on observation and seeing, talking to people and living this, that you're going to get more productivity out of people if they're not stuck in traffic an hour one way to get someplace. Just the way it
Yep.
is.
Yep. Agreed. Agreed. But I mean, on the other case, not every single job can be done from home too.
Oh yeah, no, not at all.
There's always going to be those jobs that have to be done in person. But
Hmm.
yeah. So yeah. I mean, you're right. Traffic simulator. Yes, that is right. This bum here. That'll be our next game. Traffic simulator.
I could do it.
That actually reminds me. I remember going to an actual website years and years and years ago,
Hmm.
talking about it. It was a traffic study website. Like it was about the study of traffic and how it affects and how it slows down, goes fast, slow. And part
Hmm.
of that website had a little simulator of what it would be like if simulating, like, if cars suddenly stopped on a highway, how long it would take, for that ripple effect to clear itself out. And it was actually pretty fascinating watching, the little animation do it and all that. So, I
Yeah.
mean, it's
It.
yeah, it can be pretty fascinating stuff, and that just reminds me of Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible 3, where he pretended to be a traffic researcher scientist person as one of his covers. I don't know if you remember that movie or not, but
Um. Not. I mean, I remember the movie and vague details, but I don't remember the specifics of it. It's
yeah,
been it's been a while. Um. It would be interesting. I mean, it
I'll see
really
if I can
would
find
be.
that, because it was. I think I spent like maybe 30 minutes just playing with the little simulator. Just what happens if I add a bunch of semi trucks to it,
Hmm.
and seeing how it affects traffic, and there's just a bunch of little things you could tweak it with. Um,
It's very interesting. It's like water pipes, really. I mean, it's like
yeah.
flow. It's like anything. If you've ever seen, like, there's this one guy who has like a really famous marble channel on YouTube, like marbles, right? And he does
Oh, okay.
marble races and everything. But if you just watch, like, if he like he'll do like a 10,000 marble spill kind of thing, and you can just see it. It's like the front end goes, but it takes a little while for before that back end. It doesn't all move at once. There's like a it's like a wave that ripples through before they start going. So
Yeah.
yeah, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
That's some interesting stuff. So I think we made everybody fall asleep on the podcast, as they were driving in traffic while listening to this. if they're not live here. So let's talk about some exciting news. Let's talk about some Walrus Game Studio stuff.
All right.
Let's start with probably the most pertinent one first, and that is we've got a book coming out very, 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 very shortly. Our very first Darkstorm Adventures D&D/Pathfinder adventure module book.
Mm-hmm.
So this is exciting,
And
man. This is exciting as hell.
by soon he means hopefully, if all, assuming that there's nothing out of left field, as they say, before March 1st. So
Yes. Yes, that is correct. So just to give an update, what I mean by that, or what we mean by that is, so we have the digital files approved and ready to go. We have the hardcover accepted by our printer. All the interior files and the cover file was accepted by the printer we chose, and they are sending me a proof in the mail. Hopefully, I get that proof either later this week or next week. That way, I
mhm.
can review it, make sure everything looks good. And should that proof look good, then we will definitely have a definitive release date at that point. So,
Mhm.
it's kind of surreal, just to be honest. Like,
I'm actually really happy for you, Matt. I know that this has been kind of a lifelong passion to get one of these things out the door, published, your name on it, and not only that, but it's fun. It's not just like here's a few pages. This is really a fun little module, and it's soon. It's not. It's just one of many. So it's book
yes,
one of many books to come in this adventure series. So it's just really cool.
yeah, no, I feel like it won't really be real until like it's released or whatever. Um,
You, you know what my hope is on,
what?
like, at the end when this whole adventure series is done, books are published, and hopefully that there's enough community traction on it to get just a couple of fan art pictures of our little gnome friend. I would love to see
Oh
how
God, yes.
people interpret that dude, right?
Oh yeah, the seventh mage. Oh, or the oh God, I forget the title. We're probably gonna have to
Oh,
start memorizing that because it's gonna become important one day.
his title's always whatever he wants it to be. He just
Yeah,
makes all that stuff up.
I know, I know, and um, so it's super exciting. We've got the the book coming. I've got the proof coming, which I can't wait. Um, I've been teasing the cover art for the past few days on social medias, and I'll be releasing the full cover art this Friday. So if you're listening to this podcast or watching it after the live show, just go check our socials and you'll see the full cover art there. And the trailer for the book will drop as well too on Friday. So it's
Yeah.
super exciting stuff, man. It's been a lot of work. We've got people um in the chat that have been part of the play testing. From Delta Drifter in the chat, he was actually one of the original play testers who played it's so the version of the game that he played for the most part is the bones of it are the same, right? The version
Right.
that he played versus the version that you helped play and shaped. It definitely evolved and grew and was different, but the bones of the story have stayed the same. It's just now it's different details, and like I can't wait to share with people. And um I'm already working on book 2, and that has already changed a bunch just in the early drafts of how I wanted it to be, and I guarantee it's going to change even more as I start fleshing it out.
I think what I like about book two, um,
Do
and
we
we're kind
tease
of vague
something
about.
a little bit, or?
Yeah, I'm going to tease a little something. Is we're working on a little bit of side rule set to address something that is very rarely seen in your typical Pathfinder or D&D session. So we're fleshing out a little kind of maybe um, combat that occurs on the waves, kind of a thing.
Ooh. Yes,
So
and we do know there are rule sets out there that are similar, but ours is going to be system agnostic. So
mhm.
you could use this in either D&D or Pathfinder, or you're playing Powered by the Apocalypse or White Wolf or Call of Cthulhu if you wanted to, you know?
Yeah, we're trying to create a mini rule set. Not that we're not trying to
Yeah,
we're not
not
trying
that
to
deep, right? Yeah.
not that deep, and it's not meant. It's really not meant to be like some standalone product or anything. It's part of this. It's going to be part of this book, but it's really built around just having some fun, right? In
Yeah.
naval combat. It's almost like I don't want to mention video game names by name, but almost like the kind of fun you would have, say, with Sea of Thieves, where it's quasi-realistic, but not really. Like
Yeah. Yeah, you can't control a boat with just two people.
right.
Yeah.
So
Not like a not a frigate or gallon or something.
no, but we want to make it fun to play like that. So if it's
Yeah.
just a DM and three people, there's going to be rules around that, and then the different positions that you man on the boat. So it's not just like a bunch of guys standing around in their gear on the deck of the ship and they can basically do whatever they want, right? Like as if
No.
they were standing in a field and I'll go run and attack the oh boy, let me use non D&D terms here. I'll go and attack that creature over there,
Yeah.
or this other bigger creature over here, or this one with fangs in front of me. It's not like that. You actually have to commit to a roll, and then if you want to switch roles, right, you're gonna have to commit a little round time. So many
Yeah.
rounds to get into that other role, and each role is allowed to do certain things and the others aren't, and these are not the roles of your normal class either. So it's not like the
Yeah.
fighter. It's like the fighter role. That's not it.
No.
Like so it gets fun and interesting. We've play tested this a couple of times, and
Yeah.
it is a hoot. It's a blast.
Yeah, no, I can't wait for that. Yeah, so that's going to be coming in book 2, and I know we're going to be using that system in future books and 2 as well, because
Yep.
it's yeah, like I said, I've already begun fleshing out book 2. It's already changed a bunch since I've started writing it, and then I've already started writing some notes for possibly book 3, but that may change as I finish book 2. Try not to get too ahead of myself, but
Mm-hmm.
so it's but yeah, we got the first book coming out. It is done. Like, the book is done. All the artwork is done, the cover art's done, all the edits, the layout tweaks. It is done. There is
Done.
nothing else to do.
Nothing.
It was funny, Kurt, the other night, because as we have a weekly Walrus meeting, I was showcasing to the team. I was showcasing to the team, the finished product, just showing them, and what Kurt made a comment like, "What if we added this or that or something?" I'm like, "No, we're done." It's like you told me last year. Like, there's just at a point you have to be done. You can't just.
That's right. You're done. Version 1 is over.
Yeah,
right.
We can't go back and keep, because of course I can look at book 1 right now and I can think of stuff that I would love to add, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, we just got to be done.
Like any good DM, right? You take that idea and you park it over here and you put it and you make it happen in a different scenario, in a slightly different way, but still essentially the same story component, right? The same things happen. It's just you know, a little different than, the situation it would have been in that book. Look, it's done. You got to call it done, right? That's you don't want to be like some people who wrote a book series about a throne made out of swords, and it's going through about 1 million edits before even one chapter's done, and it takes
Oh
a lifetime
God.
to get the next book out. And that's not a
Mm.
harsh criticism, but I would like to read the last book, please.
Well, he
That's
still
all
has
that.
2 books left.
Right?
It's
Well,
2 books. It's not even
he's
1 book.
he's not he's not in his 40s. I would like
I
to read these.
know. You
I
know,
would like to read them, please.
I feel like what's gonna happen is a Robert Jordan situation where he didn't get to finish Wheel of Time and Brandon
Ah,
Sanderson has to come and finish. That's what I feel like it's gonna happen. But real
yeah.
quick in chat, we did get the question: did we use any AI art in our book? And the answer is
Is no.
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 There's
So, and now in our proofs, yes. So when we were doing proofs, pre-publishing, just kind of all the alpha stuff amongst ourselves, right? Just
yeah,
us, no external viewers of this content. We used AI art as place fillers to get a general sense of what we would want the artist, and we went through a lot of prompts and a lot of things like that. It
yeah,
was just to get like a vibe or a general sense of what we wanted the artist to take a look at from a, just like look at it, but don't copy it. Like we're not looking
yeah,
for a
exactly.
human version of it. We want the artist's interpretation of the scene that was there before them.
Yeah.
Like the cover art is nothing like the original AI cover art, like in a verbatim copy. But he
Oh yeah,
got
no,
the
it is way different. Yeah.
it's way different. But the concept is identical, right? The
Yeah,
the fundamental concept is identical.
yeah, we basically used it as concept art, like you
Yeah,
said, used it
exactly.
to and when it came to time to when I had to lay out the pages, it helped me lay out the pages and make sure that the page that I'm on, right, with all the content, like does this sort of picture fit with the theme of
Right.
what I'm doing, or and I know you could pretty much use like any placeholder art for that kind of stuff, but when you're in there, it just helps you put it together. And also, what it also helped me with too was just help visualize some stuff because I'm not. There are some things that I struggle with visualizing that I could quickly put in a prompt and be like, oh, okay, so this is what a roof of the house looks like, right?
Exactly.
In a fantasy setting, okay, now I can type it, describe it, and this is what it could look like on the page. But no, we knew that we wanted 100% human art,
Yep.
and that's going to be our stance. It's really the way we utilize AI art is just a tool, concept art, and if we ever got to a point where we could afford a concept artist, we'll go
Then
that route.
yeah, we wouldn't even do that.
Yeah.
Um, so
I mean, we just have
and
to be realistic with, you know,
mhm.
with our funds, right? I'd rather waste the money, not waste, but I'd rather spend the money on art that we know we're going to use in the book versus, okay, this is just concept art. We
Yeah.
know it's going to go in the trash.
Yep. And to be fair, right? I mean, do you want to pay an artist to do a bunch of drawings that we're just going to throw away? I mean, I don't know, right? I'd rather pay them for something that was like, here it is, put all your effort and your soul into these, and we do. The guy that we're, the actually, it's more than just a guy. There's also
Yeah,
a
there's a bunch of
woman.
artists.
There's a bunch of artists that we're using in different ways, and they, he, she, they're all really good at what they do, and
Yeah.
like to your point, I'd rather pay them for the final product than to just to do some doodles and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So but yeah, no AI. And honestly, we don't even for our video games. So let me just be clear about this. I am not a big fan of AI. We don't use AI to help us code our video games. We don't use AI in any generative sense to generate content for video games or for
Mhm.
TTRPG. We just don't. We think that it should be a human endeavor. It should be a labor of love to
Mhm.
make these things, and not how fast can we, you know, keep a production line going. So
Yeah.
that's where we're at with it. Plus, if you really look at AI and actually look at real researchers doing research on it, you'll find that the quality um, of AI is actually going downhill because they are beginning to feed off of each other.
Oh
And
yeah. It's
once you start, well, it's like anything. Once you start doing that, the errors begin multiplying, and pretty soon it's like telephone tag.
oh
It
yeah.
really is. That's exactly what it is, like telephone tag. By the time the 10th person says something, they're talking about a vacation in the woods, and it started out as a story about somebody who spilled a bunch of toothpicks on the floor, right?
Yeah.
So, it's I really don't. You can't put a lot. You can't put, in my opinion, it's my opinion only. You can't put a lot of effort into that, and you can't trust it yet because there's no
No.
guardrails on this
Like
stuff.
especially Chat GPT, it's garbage.
It's the Wild West, man. It's you got to take everything with a grain of salt, and yeah, no thanks.
No, so we have a question in the chat like who are the artists that we use? I'll just quickly name them. And I am going to 100% apologize cuz I know I'm going to mess up some of these names. I just know I am. Our cover artist was Walter F. Goldkoop. For amazing artist, I loved him. He was great to work with. So that is our cover artist, Walter. Um, and then our interior artists, uh, one of my favorites, Dean Spencer, Henrik Karppinen, um, Daniel Commercy, Jack Holiday, Jess Shields. Oh God, I'm gonna totally butcher this name. Uh, Sverker Castillo and Eric
Eh,
Palmer.
there you go. I
God,
think you got through it.
I'm so sorry if any of them are listening. I completely butchered your names. I apologize. I am horrible at pronouncing names, and I even forget names very often. You can ask my daughters. I completely forget their names all the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's Matt for you.
Yeah.
Um,
So, yes, they are all 100% legit artists. Loved them all.
hey, you want to throw a shout out to our graphics artist, or just general graphic artist? The little things like stickers and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Which, ooh, I'm glad you brought that up. So, the logo of Darkstorm was made, I, I guess we just call them Crystal.
Yep.
It's from the graphics design company AE Digital. Crystal is the one that we worked with who did our Darkstorm logo. She also did two Walrus stickers for us, which, so I haven't even announced this officially yet on social medias, but, for people listening and watching, so I am going to be doing a giveaway very short. Well, when the book releases, we're going to be doing a giveaway that if you show proof of purchase of the physical book, I will send you some Walrus stickers, a Magic with Zuby token, and I think a Darkstorm logo sticker. I got to get the stickers made first, so I'm not gonna announce it right away as soon as after the book releases. I want to make sure I have them first, and then there are gonna be, I think, up to 5 lucky winners of this. If you show proof of purchase of you buying the physical book, you may be a lucky person and get an official Darkstorm Adventures dice tray for free. Only this is all for free. Like, there is no paying for anything. We cover all the cost of shipping, and so we have some prototypes of the Darkstorm dice trays that our friend Link's made, and it's they're pretty cool. They're unfinished, they're not polished, but they're pretty damn awesome.
Yeah, I don't have anything laying around otherwise.
Proof of purchase. So clearly Photoshop bank statements. Yes, those are okay as long as you also have a picture of the physical book as well too. So I'll make sure we come up with all the rules and all that stuff. So.
Yep.
So yeah, that's going to be exciting because we originally had the stickers commissioned for the Kickstarter, but that didn't go well. But you know what? I loved the sticker drawings so much, I don't want to just not have them for something, you know? So, yeah, it's, I think that's about does it for Darkstorm Adventures. I can't think of anything else. Like, as soon as I get the proof of the book and everything looks good and, you know, everything's good, you know, whatever legal obstacles we got to pass, which it should be all fine, but you know, you got to make sure that's all good and on the up and up. Then it's just, yeah, I'll be able to announce a release date as soon as we're good.
Yep.
So
I think that covers it. I mean, there's some interesting side stuff going on too. You know, we've got there's another whole adventure series too that's been
the one-shot adventures.
Yeah, the one-shot adventures, the Blade
auction.
Oh,
we're not giving up on that. Like,
no, we're not. But it's going to be a long while before this sees the light of day. But there is another adventure series, which is literally a book of one-offs, but they're not like disjointed. So, like, if you know. I think there was a WotC book that had a lot of adventures in it, like classic adventures, and they were just kind of unrelated to each other. This is a series of one-shots that are actually more related to each other, but still stand on their kind of own 2 feet, almost like the adventures of, say, back in the 80s, the A-Team, right? Where, you know, there's this big adventure that happens and then it's all tidied up at the end, and you know, the next adventure, some of the same people are there, some of them aren't. It just gives, you know, it's a throwback to the old D&D Long March kind of style, where you know, you might have people show up one week.
Oh, you mean the West Marches, right?
Or the West Marches, where sorry, not Long March, but the West Marches, where you know, people show up for a couple weeks and then go away and come back in a couple months, and you know, just lots of different things going on, but people still able to play D&D. So that kind of approach, the old West Marches approach. Sorry, I had that other driving video game in my head. I was just thinking.
Oh yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. No, it's no, I can't wait when we start working on that. But there's been something else that's been really kind of taking a lot of our attention, that this is a great segue in. And as we've talked about on the podcast before, our network engineer simulator game, that's just the response we're getting is just insane.
It's kind of nuts. Unexpected.
So hold on, you know, I'm going to go into our Steam page and look at the new numbers for how many people have actually wishlisted it, because if you listen to last week's episode of the podcast, when we recorded that episode, we were only at about 3,500 wish lists. We've gone way past that at this point. I'm just getting it loaded up right here. Oh shit, okay. We just bypassed the 7,500 mark as of today. We have over 7,510 people who have wishlisted this game.
Right?
That's insanity to me. Like, I mean, you know, I was gonna be happy with 100 people, right?
Right? Like, this is totally unexpected, because like and it's not just like a 4-hour game here that we're talking about. Then it's not just like plug a bunch of wires in kind of thing. Although there isn't. So let me get into it a little bit. All right. So
Yeah, what you've been working on.
we had one of our members, Lynx, one of the guys on the team, had this idea, and he was just fiddle farting around. It was almost a joke, right? And Zuby said something to him. One thing led to another, and before you knew it, like we had this functional pre-prototype kind of thing
Yeah.
going. And we're like, that's kind of satisfying to click those cables in. Well, what if you did this? And before you knew it, now there's, in our sandbox level, there's this laptop. And you click on the laptop, and it brings up this little screen of like, just an alert list of like what cables are connected. And so all of a sudden we're like, well, wait a second, this is really turning into something. So
what if we invented a network operating system?
Right. And so where this is going. And so we fleshed this out, and we thought pretty carefully about it, and we're like, are we going to release this? Like, is this something that we really want to do? I mean, we're learning a lot from it. We are actually learning a lot with this, both in terms of Unreal and some other, simulation kind of things, like frame rates affect the tick timers in Unreal. So we're learning a lot of interesting things. So we finally said, yeah, let's do it. Let's go for it. And here we are. Before you knew it, we had our demo. We set up our Steam page. We went through all those machinations. And by the way, it's not impossible to put something up on Steam, but it is a process. And Steam,
it's a pain in the butt.
Pain in the butt, and Steam is very meticulous about this, but I think in a good way. Like they don't, like they're actually looking out for your best interest, because they don't want you to put up a shoddy video or a clip that isn't going to represent your product very well. So to be honest, kudos to Steam. Their feedback was good, and their advice was spot on. So we put this up, and now we're at 7,500, and it's only been how many weeks? So it hasn't been a month yet, has it?
It's been it's our third week, I think.
Third week. We've already got some international press.
Yeah, that was, dude, that blew me away. Like, we got picked up by some Japanese website.
Yeah, that reviews video games, and it was positive. We've got some local, U.S. coverage. Matt's going to be on a podcast this weekend talking about this as well. But the more we talked about this, the more we looked at this, the more we thought, let's hear what people have to say, right? So we put it out there, and we put the teaser video out there, which probably represents like the first couple minutes of the game only, right?
Yeah.
And we have there's a whole story behind this. It gets interesting. There is a storyline. There is missions. There are interesting things that can and will be done with this. But we wanted to hear what people said, and all of a sudden we started, and we're still deep in development. We started hearing people saying, well, can I use this? Can I use this to train with to pass my CCNA and and all these other tests, right? Networking tests. And we're like, well, how deep do we go with this? So we've gone pretty deep with it. You have. We've essentially modeled the real life. For those that don't know, maybe we can explain a little bit, but we've modeled the actual real life layer 1 and right now layer 2 of the OSI model. So there's 7 layers to this model, and layer 1 is essentially the physical electrical, the transmission of the bits from one end of the cable to the other. And there are rules there. There are definitely rules. And it's not like plugging in the electrical outlet in the thing, right,
Yeah.
in the wall. And we modeled it, and we're building in things like latency and other fudge factors, or there's a way to introduce random, they're called CRC errors. And what that means is that the data is, there's a way to detect if data is corrupt on the wire when it gets to
Mm-hmm.
the destination. So we're doing these fun things, and it didn't actually take us very long to do these. So now we're building up from there on the cake, on the layers.
You're starting to
We're
develop
not.
Ethernet frames right now,
Yeah. Yep.
which
Yep.
it
So
kind of blows my mind. So just to give a little bit of context to the audience, people listening, the past couple days, it's Dante and I and Lynx, we've all been talking and having to talk at length, like how a frame is transmitted, not a packet, because packets are up at layer 3. We're talking just frames, and
yep.
like what constitutes a frame, like what data is in a frame. And it's all very simple stuff. It's just having to we have to make sure we're taking it one layer at a time, and it gets so easy to jump ahead. But you're right, we need to layer the cakes on, because it's so there's a lot of behind the scenes work that you're working on that is not going to be noticeable right away. Like when we get the demo out, you're not going to see any of this code here, but you're laying down the foundation for us to showcase frames and packets being transmitted. So if we get to a point where we want the player to do like some sort of packet sniffer troubleshooting, it's gonna be possible.
It totally will be. And and it's, people think like, wow, why don't you start with just like the simple stuff, and then you can get complicated later. That doesn't work so well with this kind of a thing. Get the rules down. And so what we're taking the approach of get all the details down, get the rules down, and basically, turn the lights off on most of it, right? So it's in the dark, and we'll utilize one little bit of that object that we've created. So the frame, there is an object called the frame, which represents a Ethernet 2/802.3 frame, depending on and I know it's very technical, and only the network technical people are going to get this and hear this, but the frame is a real frame. It's done, it's baked, it's coded, and it takes into account
It
all
has
those
the
little
actual bits and
it does
the headers, the source and
headers,
destination, the
MAC,
data,
the MAC address, the whole bit,
Yep.
right? The CRC block, preamble, the inner block
Yeah.
gap is accounted for it.
Dude, when you've been showing me this coding, I'm like, holy fuck, this is insane.
So here's how, to the technical nerds out there, so this is how we implemented the inner block gap. Because the inner block gap, yes, it's data, but it's not really, right? And the same with the preamble. The preamble is data, right? But so what we're doing is we're calculating line speeds, and we're saying, okay, so if whatever the current line speed is at that moment, right? Because nothing's ever the ideal line speed, but whatever that is, how long would it take those X number of bytes representing the preamble and the inner block gap at that moment in time to traverse the wire? That length of time becomes a fudge factor. I wouldn't even call it fudge factor. It just becomes its own small little increment of time that's added to the wire latency.
Yeah.
So that the frame has to get through that period of time before it pops out the other side. So it's really an interesting set of dynamics trying to model real life electrical physics, and it's worked. We've got it.
I know it's like I said, it blows my mind, man. Like it's just
it's kind of cool. So
well, I'm glad you and Lynx are the ones who understand that. Like I can tell you guys all day, every day, like how networking functions. But the fact that you can take that and make it into code, that's where I'm like, okay, guy's kind of blown my mind. Where
Yeah. Now, no, I'm not going to lie. Like you said, in the demo and the early release, a lot of that code is going to be dark, right? Some of the
yeah,
code is not going to be leveraged. It's going to be more, it's going to start out in more of an arcade mode situation. But as we have time to kind of progress with some of the other upper layers and build them up more robustly, we'll start turning some of these things on, you know, like the MAC address situation, and making sure that the port is only listening to the MAC addresses that it's supposed to be receiving at layer 2. And again, lots of technical talk here, and I'm not even a network engineer, but I've had to learn this stuff. So it's gameplay wise though, like most people aren't even gonna ever notice this. So there's gonna be like arcade mode through super realism mode. Like anybody who wants to do like super ultra realism and essentially work their job, right? If they were a real network engineer, we're gonna push up to that limit eventually. But
we're gonna
in the
get to a
beginning,
point. We're gonna get to a point where we're gonna have a creative mode where,
yep,
like you want a 3D version of Cisco's packet tracer, and actually have to physically connect equipment and all that. We're gonna have you. We're gonna be able to have it be done.
Yeah, it's going to be a while though. Look, I'm just
Yeah,
going to be
yeah,
honest.
of course, yeah.
It's going to start out very, arcade-like, if you will, very satisfying to plug those cables in, get that click noise, organize the cable trough. It's going to be very satisfying to log into a console and see a very simple, red light, green light kind of thing. But as you turn the realism dial up over the over the course of the development cycle of this thing, you will be in charge of how realistic you want it, right? And
yeah,
so but it's going to take a while to do that, right? Because
oh yeah, it's I mean, we're shooting for an early access for later this year. I mean, we're trying our best. We're gonna shoot for it. We're hoping for a demo in the next couple months. Yep. I finished the demo, the level design, couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, I think. And now it's you're working on the actual Ethernet/IP side of it. We've got Links working on trying to finalize cabling and make sure that's all tweaked out, or not tweaked out, but whatever he's doing with it, it's whatever the technical term, like QAing it, making it look better, and all that.
Yep.
Adding in some other like stuff with like some grid lines, like making the actual rack space programmable and all that. He's doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff too, and
it's all the 3D work, really. It's all the objects and meshes and locations where cables can connect, and the physicality of it, the physics of the cable. So he's doing all that.
I couldn't think of the word of it.
He gets the fun stuff. I have to sit here and write all this grindy behind the scenes code, right? So
it's exciting, man. It's like just all the talks we've had, just talking about how a frame transmits, and just making sure that we're following exactly how a switch operates. And it's also helping me because it's I do this for a living every day. I know networking in and out, but sometimes you forget a lot of that low level stuff, and it's fun to explore it again.
It really is. One of the so for instance, Matt, we've Zuby and I have been going back and forth about like, what is the very first frame? You turn a host on, a PC, a server, something like that. What is the actual very first frame coming out of that host that hits the Ethernet wire, right? Hits that port, hits the wire for the switch at the other end to see. And
oh my god, we were going back and forth, and I just kept on
forth.
And I was telling him like the answer is it depends. That's that's really the answer. It depends. Like,
And for me, right, a programmer who loves things to be well organized and very specific states and
zeros and
you know,
ones.
right, it was so unnerving to be like, well, it just depends. It's kind of, it's like quantum physics. It just depends. No, I don't want it to
So
depend.
I mean, we did come up with rules for it because
Yeah, we did.
we just had to, right? And we'll talk about it. So if a host is set up as DHCP, meaning they're set up as with dynamic IP addressing, the first frame that's going to get sent is a DHCP request frame.
Yep.
That's just the easiest way, because we're not going to get into technical details of, oh, what if the host is on Active Directory and, is having to make Kerberos, requests and stuff. We're like, no, let's,
Nope.
we're not going to get that deep. If we want to get that deep, Microsoft pay us. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
And then if a host is statically assigned with an IP address, they're going to do a DNS request, out to Google or something, whatever we decide. But it's just like at the end, we had to pick something, because it's in real life networking, it depends on what actually gets sent out first.
And so, in playing a game, right, we want the things to be in motion. So when you click one end of the cable in, right, and the other end is still not clicked into anything, right, nothing's going to happen anyway, right? There's nothing going on. But the minute you click that other end in, we just want to get the ball rolling. We want the ports to understand that those two ports can talk to each other and that they can relay messages back and forth. And again, the MAC address, and really these protocols were meant to trigger the MAC address code so that the two ports know about each other. But although that's happening, like, that code is gray. We'll call it mostly gray. In other words, we're not going to really do a lot of MAC address checking right now. It's just for it to happen so that later on we just kind of take comments out of code and it will be more interesting and robust. And but we gotta start with simple things and layer up. You can architect a lot of the features, but networking is so interesting that you gotta start with the basics and then work towards the very complex.
Yep.
And so we leave a lot of the stuff either in the dark or grayed out for now, and we'll get back to it. But the structure is there. So.
Yeah. I mean, we could make it even more fun for you programmers if we start introducing hubs.
Hubs. I'm not going to lie. I sat this morning. It's funny you say that. And no, we did not rehearse this.
Okay.
I sat in the shower this morning. Remember that old HP commercial way back in the day? What if? And this guy's in the shower and he has the eureka idea or something like that, right?
Okay.
So I'm in the shower and I'm like, oh fuck, hubs. And I just kept thinking about it, and I'm like, oh my god, what a mess, right? What a mess that's gonna be, because essentially that's just a party line. That's all that is.
Yeah,
it's literally everybody listening to everybody at the same time.
It's one broadcast domain. When we talk about broadcast storms, that's what hubs would do, would be broadcast storms where, something would send out trying to broadcast everywhere. It was its own, there was no collision domains or anything. But yeah, no, we're not putting in hubs, because that's just no.
It's just a mess, man.
I don't hate you guys that much.
Well, somebody's gonna be like, it's not real without the hub. Somebody out there.
Okay, then let's
shitlord. But no, I'm with you, man. That's not happening right now. Maybe
you know, if they're going to be like, well, what about hubs? Okay, then let's put in ATM frame relay networks too while we're at it. You know, okay,
No,
fuck IP addressing. Let's go back to what IPX and all that.
no, no.
You know,
Novell
put in some
networks, no.
token ring networks. Let's get some BNC connectors going. You know,
Listen, if it ever got to the point where somebody said I need a token ring network in there, I would be like, you give me $1 million check and I'll put your token ring in there for you.
oh my god.
If there ain't
Oh,
seven
I just
numbers, I'm not doing it.
Dude, I just thought of it. So, all right, network engineer simulators, huge hit, blah, blah, blah. We come out with a DLC retro network simulator.
Oh my god.
You have to go into the 90s retro office and set up a token ring for the Usenet dev environment.
Better yet. Better yet. You have to essentially implement the first hub, but in the sense of coax. Remember the old coax wire with the T connectors in it?
Yeah.
Which is essentially it was a hub, but it was just a cable that essentially acted like a hub because everybody could hear each other. You got to put one of those in. Could you imagine that?
Or okay. So the office environment would be the Department of Defense, because the original OGs of the internet, right?
Right. Oh god, do you think they have any of that stuff laying around still?
I mean, it's the government. Of course they do.
God, could you imagine that? Coax cable with T connectors on it.
Oh god.
See, the young folk probably don't even know what we're talking about.
I mean, that was even before my time too. Like, to be honest, because I'm still pretty young. But I mean, when I got into networking, like whenever I get into something like that, I love learning about the history of it. You know, like how did we come from British naval connectors all the way up to, you know, fiber optics, you know, single mode and multi-mode type stuff.
I'm just waiting for the person who says it ain't real unless there's like an old, like, you know, whatever it was, 9600 baud RS-232 modem.
God. Yeah.
God, could you imagine that?
Oh my god, it's like, yeah, it's not gonna be real unless you can do some war dialing, okay? have it play the tones of the modem so you could like hack into someone.
Oh, you know what a great mission would be?
What?
Is to like tie in a microphone into the game and see if you can get the Captain Crunch whistle, the first hack. Remember that? So, all right. So for all those listening, for the one of the first hacks ever in telecommunications and in networking was it's called Captain Crunch. Go look it up. But I believe it was payphones. So this guy figured out that, and just I don't know how he did it, but if you took the whistle that was currently available in like a box of Captain Crunch at the time, right?
Yeah.
You took this whistle, you pick up the payphone, and you just blow the whistle into the payphone the right way, it would unlock the phone. Essentially, it was like going into test.
Yeah, I heard about this.
It was like going into engineer mode. And once it was in that mode, you could literally dial any place on the planet for free.
Wow, I forgot about that. Oh my god.
It was the most amazing thing, and that's like one of the first ever hacks of telecommunications. It was just stunning to me, stunning.
So, real quick sidebar, Delta Drifter just put in the chat, he just got an ad for a sub shop, and the song they were playing is Rhythm of the Night, and it reminded him of whenever I would play the Magic card on stream, Rhythm of the Wild. This is the rhythm of the wild. Oh, wild. Oh, yeah. Think that brings back some good memories, but yeah, man, it's you know, the game takes off, whatever, you know, Cisco, you want to pay us money for retro DLC.
You got it, man.
You got it.
If the check's big enough, I'll go back in time 30, 40 years.
God. Oh my god. And oh my god, who was it? Was it Matthew Broderick in the War Games? Was it him?
Yes, it
Was it
was
him?
him. Yep.
Then we would need to get him as a cameo voice actor
Oh,
for
100%.
for the retro DLC.
So,
Would you like to play a game, David?
you know what's going to happen?
What?
That's going to have to make it into the main game now. That as a mission, you got to go find that. Was it a cave or was it Cheyenne Mountain, wherever that thing was, like
Was
the
it?
final scene? I don't know.
It's been forever since I've seen it.
You're gonna have to go there and actually upgrade the Whopper and get it functional. Give it a new network card and wire it up and
wait. Everything's in half duplex mode, or actually everything's in simplex mode. There's no.
Funny enough,
I know you've developed simplex, half duplex, and duplex already.
Yeah, that's in the game too. The wire.
Yeah.
So the wire model actually can mimic any of those, and it can mimic the two directional simplex fiber optic too. So like one wire, you don't need two wires. So in other words, if you're saying, well, what about a fiber optic cable? You're going to need two wires. Nope, it's built into the one wire. The one wire can actually act like two simplex, optical cables. So that's also built in.
So, I mean, I can keep geeking out about networking. I love networking. I mean, I really do. It's the thing that, and I just want to preface this because it's, not only am I completing one of my dreams of being a published author, but this is also sort of helping complete a dream of mine as well too, where, and I've said this to a special someone of mine, that I was just telling them the other night that, one of the things that I want to do when I get older is be able to mentor people, especially in the IT field.
Right.
Because I really love it. I've been a martial arts teacher for a long time. I love teaching people, and this is the kind. And as this develops and goes further, this is sort of like a way, for me to help make that dream become realized. Where if we get to a point where we can actually teach people networking and how fun it can actually be, I mean. Dude, that's just awesome. And couldn't do it without you guys, couldn't do it without a team or anything. And it's just something that I would love to see really happen. And I know we're going to do it.
I will in that vein, right? I think one of the funnest things that, so all this networking stuff, programming, Unreal simulations, video game development, man, I love that stuff, right? It came after my time, so I had to have a whole career doing other kinds of IT work, right? But when I was a young lad, that's what I wanted to do. Is I really wanted to write video games. In fact, little known fact, when I went the reason I chose my degree in college, and I'm not going to dox myself too much here, we'll just leave it at that. It's a very technical degree. But the reason I picked it at the time was because I thought, wow, if the end of the world came or something catastrophic, right, I would know how to work with computers, and I could, I guess, fudge my own video game and play my own video game, right?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be dependent on whatever, right? It's kind of silly thinking like in those terms, right? But it was interesting because I thought, like, could I get this degree and learn how to make video games? And the short answer was yes in the end, but there was no market. Nobody was going to hire me at that time to do that work, right? It was a very specialized group of people, and way back then, it was a very tight knit community, small number of people, and it's not like today. So I had to do IT. So, but what I'm finding interesting right now in my life is that by doing Walrus, right, I'm giving, and I know this sounds crazy, but I'm getting a lot of satisfaction out of this. I'm giving other people the opportunity to do the things that they want to do that I never really got a chance to do. And that's super satisfying to me. Like you came to us like a year ago and said, oh, I've always wanted to publish a book. Here you are, 1 year later. We figured it out together. The Walrus team came together
Yeah.
and we figured out how to make that happen, right? Our associate Lynx, right? He's always wanted to do something interesting. Here we are making that happen, right? This is his thing. Network Engineer Simulator is Lynx's brainchild, and it's coming to life, and even some third parties. I can't say anything, nor will I get into it, but there are a lot of third parties who are going to get or are getting the opportunity to contribute, and it's a big deal to them to do this, right? To be, to have art that's published, to work work on soundtracks, right? Or to these things that are going to become public domain, like not public domain in the sense of public domain, but
Yeah.
out there in the public, that somebody's going to be playing a video game and is going to see their art. Somebody's going to be reading a book and see their art, or there's a soundtrack in the game, something behind the scenes that is their creation, right? We're trying to, and so going back to that original AI question, no, we don't want that. We want to give, it feels great to give people an opportunity to contribute. And yes, it's we pay for our stuff, but they're still contributing in a good positive way because it's something they've always wanted to do, right? And man, it feels great. It feels great to be able to give people that opportunity.
Yeah.
So
And don't minimize yourself either, man. Like, you're also getting to create a game. You're gonna have your name in a book. You're
yeah,
gonna
that's
have
true.
your, name and credits for the games.
Yeah, I mean, it does feel good. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Feels good to finally, before you know, before all is said and done, as they say, be able to actually write code or create things for a video game and watch it happen and be able to demo it and play it and test it out. It's very fulfilling. But I am getting a lot of joy out of watching other people light up at the opportunity to kind of put themselves out there in a way that they might not have been able to do. So it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
No, it's great. It's great. So we're coming near the end here. Um, I mean, this is our two biggest things that we had to talk about was Darkstorm and NetSim.
Hmm.
I mean, we've got other stuff in the works that we're not ready to discuss, or it's just
It's true.
yeah, and it just takes time. But our main focus right now has been the Darkstorm book, and as soon as that, I mean that's been my big focus the past couple weeks is just the Darkstorm book
Hmm.
because we're and as soon as that book is officially released, um, head nose down in the second book while also helping Network Sim at the same time.
Right. Yep.
But
I look. You know, if I will say this too for those watching or listening or somebody, you know, there are moments. Don't get me wrong. There's moments where you wake up and you just don't want to do something, right?
oh
Or
yeah,
it's like, God, if I dive into this, I'm going to be doing this for the next 6 hours, and I really don't want to do that. And I'd rather, I don't know, take the dog for a walk or
or
listen,
go play World of Warcraft
do
instead.
something with my
Yeah.
kids. And and I get that, and that happens to us too. But
Oh yeah. Especially when
all
a
I
new
get,
shiny game comes out and we all all of us get distracted.
we do. I would just say this, man. Just take that moment and think about it, and enjoy a side moment, but then come back to it, right? Come back
Mm-hmm.
to what you think is your real passion, because in the end, it's always hard work. Like there's no freebie. There's no, if you look at very successful people or even mildly successful people, right? Just successful in general at all those levels, it's been hard work. Nobody, you know, yeah, maybe you can point to a couple people, like literally a handful, literally on the face of the earth that maybe got super lucky and made it big for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not reality, man. The real reality is you got to put the hard work in. And so, if anybody's listening to this, if I can influence you in any way, man, just take a few moments to yourself, half a day, but then get right back to it, man. Just get right back to it. Run through the obstacle, beat it up,
Yeah.
climb over it, under it, around it, whatever you have to do, but get back to it, because in the end, that hard work will pay off. It really will.
Yeah. No,
In some way, it will.
very well said. And I think that's a great place to end it right there. And just want to thank everybody for coming on. Um, there's links in chat. Get back on it. Get back. Okay, well, all right. Let's get back on to programming.
Man, I spent a lot of hours today on it. I'm tired.
This was our side chat. You're good. Get back. No. No.
He's tough, man. I'll tell you what, Lynx is tough, man. He's a hard ass
I know.
in his own way.
He is. No, but we love him. Well, thank you everybody for stopping by in the live chat. I know I did say there was going to be a Q&A. We'll save that for maybe next week's podcast, the Q&A questions, because we had a lot of good discussion, and this podcast could keep going on longer, but we need to end it here.
Good. I'm tired.
Yeah, I'm tired too. I've done a lot of talking today.
Yep.
But thank you all for joining us. Thank you to the live audience that's come in here. Thank you to the listeners, the watchers out there. You are all very much appreciated, and hope you all have a great night.
Have a good one, everybody. Take care of yourselves.
Bye.
Bye.